kick, but it's my knee off the ground. I'm exaggerating here to show you. Look. And then I finish on the mount. All right, guys, so from the belt and arm, we're going to be focusing a little bit more now on this side, but from this angle, about how important it is for you to block this knee, okay? It makes easier for you to connect your hip, and also limits the movement a little bit. I don't want this knee opening too much, okay? So once you're there, okay, when I connect and I get closer to him, I will actually, instead of trying to do anything with this hook, I will actually go there. So I connect, and then I go. Because now if he moves back, I'm connected, look. Okay? And another important detail, I'm glad we're doing this from this side, is that this, my main knee, my right knee, should never be inside of him. Not even a tiny bit. It needs to be on the outside at all times. Okay? Because this will be my guarantee that I can finish mounted, number one. Number two, that I'm not going to have him collapsing the hip to the other side and passing. And number three, I can actually kick a little bit if I deal with somebody that needs that little icing on the cake push on the end. So from there, look, I start kicking. When I start kicking, I address the arm. I kick just enough to do what? Just enough to get on my toes. Once I get on my toes, I go to my knees. Once I go to my knees, the toe on the ground, stretch. So my knees off the ground. And then a little bump on the top. Okay? Then I finish mounted. Remember, where to grab. I really like on the triceps. That's a very important detail too. If I go here, some people can bend the elbow, and just with the elbow they can delay the sweep. So I like to come like that, and then my own elbow closes, and I finish on top. Alright guys, so from the hip and arm control, it's kind of like the same thing we did on the standing, on the previous techniques. One of the previous techniques is that the people know, they know that they're in trouble. So they know that if I scoop my hip under, if I have all those controls, they will be in trouble 100%. So what they do sometimes is that not just they back out the hip, but they try to stand up. This sweep is very important, the timing. I cannot miss the timing. So this is probably even more important than the technique. Okay, I need to feel when the person's already totally disengaged from the hip and from the legs. Okay, so I have the belt, I have the arm, and they're sure enough moving back. They're going to move back so much that I know that I feel that this is not good anymore. The timing is, when I feel that's the case in slow motion, my hand goes to the collar. Outside collar, not inside collar. Outside collar. And I got my hand as much as I can close to his far shoulder. Here. Okay, so once I go there, guys, look, that's the timing thing we're talking about. When Lucas tried to stand up, at the same time he tries to stand up, I need to step my leg out. And I need to place my head underneath his armpit. So in slow motion, he goes out, here I am. My head under the armpit. And then what I'm doing now, pretty much, is again, the hips. I'm not trying to force. I'm just trying to put my hip on the outside. Okay? When my hip completely moves to the outside, I always know that I'm going to guarantee the sweep. And I kind of fall always towards side control. Guys, some people try to finish kind of like something like that. It's not a high percentage submission. But one thing that you can definitely do, look, is to guarantee this arm so the arm doesn't push you or anything. And then you can finish in a really tight side control. Okay, so one more time. Again, guys, I should always emphasize that. Everything in Jiu-Jitsu, every single little technique in takedowns, in guard passing, in defending the guard, in sweeps, defenses, escapes, everything, you name it. Every time that you get stuck in Jiu-Jitsu, it's your hips' fault, 100%. Everything. If you somehow can move your hips correctly, you're always going to be able to perform the technique well. And this is like a classical example. If my hip doesn't go, I'm gonna get stuck, and it can be bad because I go underneath for him without legs, and sometimes you gotta get pancake there. Okay, so from here, he's moving back, and I reach. When I reach, guys, look, step out, and the head goes underneath. Once the head goes underneath, look, I kind of gonna be like that, kind of like in a Kesagatami position. My hip is completely sideways, and this is gonna be a lot of effort just there. So this foot on the ground serves me to do what? To move my hip to the other side. Once I get the hip moving to the other side, get close, control. Look, always get your chest on top of the arm. When I connect my hip, he tries to turn sideways. He can't because look, I have an underhook and I finish on top well. Let's switch to the other side. So you guys can see from another angle. So from here he moves back, reach the far collar, outside leg kicks, head goes under the armpit, hip switch. Always make sure that, guys, if you get too disconnected, it's never good. You always try to connect, driving the arm down and leaning my weight on top of the arm. Okay? Now I can't let go of this all day. I can block the hip depending on what he does. I can address the underhook on the side. It's kind of like up to the reaction of the person. Guys, from the hip and arm control, the arm drag is always an option. Okay, I'm just gonna go over a couple of details, and I'm gonna be doing the arm drag today in a little different way. A lot of times the problem of the arm drag, and it actually happened to me in a no-gi match, is that when you do the arm drag and you do your